I am doing another study on human beings, which is one of my favorite studies because I myself am obviously one. And with that in mind, I can further the topic and say that human beings are by far the most interesting creatures upon the planet, and also that all outside human conception, or the human being itself, is unaware to that human and therefore is in several ways in their control without them acknowledging it. Therefore, we are going to talk about philosophy, or I, rather, am going to talk about philosophy in this video in the sense of theology, science, religion, and politics, as well as a variable of different conception. So, what happens when humans interact? This is a study I'm doing on social psychology. Now, social psychology is a fun little topic that I also acknowledge as abnormal psychology, as humans are also the abnormalist creatures in the universe. Yes, they are not themselves, so to speak. And by that, I mean what you see on the surface is not what lies below. That's correct. The anatomy of the human being is a very complex item, and therefore you must acknowledge the complexities outside the human brain when you are looking at the human brain. Therefore, your focus is not upon it, but rather around it. Does that make sense to you? Ah, excellent. Now, with that study of such topics, we can look more, we can think more, and we can be more. And if you think not, then try listening closer and closer and closer. Try listening harder. Focus yourself upon everything that you are and everything you want to be. And then, only then, can you succeed for yourself, not others. When others stand in a path of another, they influence that individual fully with their own individualism, and you influence that individual fully with your own individualism. With that in mind, it is a parallel of itself moving on completely different scales, on entirely different spaces, and most intricate times. As the population is ever rising, we stand here in 2017 on the 2nd of April on a Sunday with the moon almost in full power. On the 11th, we will experience a hydronic frequency that might make us a bit loony. And we can look at this here, my watch. It is going to show you the specifics, so to speak. It's going to show you what you need to see right now astrologically or astronomically, as well as geologically, physically, and biogenically. So we can take those ideas and also apply them to the human mind when we are looking at a social psychology study, and or entrepreneurment upon adventurism, and or a furtherment of one's own intellect. One's own intellect is most important to themselves because they can take the ability of themselves and move it where they so choose rather than where they want to. Now that's very important to the psychologist, because A psychologist is looking for contrast. They're looking for differences, and they're looking for absurdities. They're looking for uniqueness as well as strangeness. We're looking for the different. We're looking for the absolute foreign or alien to the human. We are looking for the things that humans have not before seen and or done. And that is where our interest drives us. That is why curiosity is one of the primary human traits that other animals lack. Now, not all animals lack interest outside of humans. There are so many animals that do have the ability to think, and humans will not acknowledge it because we believe we are the only things that think within our world, and that is inaccurate. People need to look more outside themselves and believe that things think for themselves rather than for them. Care is something that is to be given on a sentimental plane and a nurturing path or nature. Therefore, with that in mind, we can look at the nature of a human and know that it is a selfish creature, but we cannot acknowledge why. With that also in mind, we must become less selfish and more giving. We must take less care of ourselves and more care of others for others to look at us. And with that, we can help a lot of people, and they can help us. I'm sorry I look like shit right now. I did have a bunch of fun last night, clearly. And no, just because I wear makeup doesn't mean I'm gay. That's part of the study. I'm looking at whether or not people think negatively of me, why, and if they look positive upon this topic and why. So, I'm sorry, I just woke up. Very tired. You'll notice